Yeah, another big week in conference. Got Old Dominion be on the road, and Old Dominion team that's hungry for a win, and we're hungry for a win as well. Was very impressed with their football team this past week. They took Marshall and down the stretch into overtime. Marshall's a tough place to play, and they gave everything Marshall could handle. So they're a football team that's fighting, scratching, and clawing like we are, and it's going to take everything we got. But I like our guys' mentality right now. I love their demeanor and attitude. They got their jaw set. They're not happy by any means, and they're going to be ready to go play. And I know Old Dominion will be ready to go play as well. So it should be a good football game. With that said, questions.
First Monday morning question, injury availability after Saturday's game. Is there any noteworthy injuries or anything like that?
No, I think, the normal bumps and bruises. Hoping we get Nick Days back in that defensive rotation. He played some special teams, but would like to get him in the defensive rotation. Hopefully this will be the week for that to happen.
I guess, what did you see, getting the chance to watch film, what did you see from the UTSA game?
I just saw the things that we had talked about before. They're a really good offense, so it was going to be a tough day for our defense. Thought our defense, when they needed to make the stops there down the stretch late in the game, they gave our opportunity for our offense to go win the game. Thought our offense responded extremely well, got down to the 1 yard line, and then we talked about it, the unfortunate penalty that came up, which really was very costly. Again, proud of the football team for they're battling hard every week. I think that's pretty obvious. And, we're hopefully going to get the issues fixed that we've had. Really need to have a really good week on defense. Really need to have a really good week. We've played some really good offenses, and our defense is battling hard, but obviously, the first 2 years I was here, that was our strength of our football team. And the offense is the strength of our football team right now. That's obvious, but I love how our defense is fighting, scratching, and clawing, and they have a lot of pride, and we need to have a really good week on defense and be able to set the tone of the game and allow the offense to go out there and go do their thing and try to go put points on the board that, try to flip the switch a little bit where we're up by 14, instead of us being down by 14. And that's kind of what we're going to work really hard on this week, and hopefully we can do that defensively. I know they're excited to try to get that going.
When you look at the film, you can look at a lot of different things, but when you talk about setting the tone, UTSA scored right out of the gate. Their second drive, they scored almost the same exact fashion as the first score. When you look at those plays in particular, how do you look at that and make sense of that as far as setting the tone for Old Dominion?
Well, I think, some of the things that happened early is they hit explosive plays down the field. We were in man coverage. It was a one-on-one shot. Quarterback was extremely accurate with the football. Big, tall, talented receiver went up and got it. Those were the obvious things early in the game that really stood out. If you're able to stop those plays, then it changes the game a little bit for you. I think as you go into Old Dominion, you got to look at it and say, okay, yeah, we're going to be a man coverage football team. We're going to play man, but what do you do to maybe put your guys in better situations against? They got some big talented receivers at Old Dominion too. So it's not something that's just going to go away for us. So we got to work extremely hard on those plays, those explosive throws down the field. But if we can limit those plays in this game, I feel like it'll give the ball back to the offense, and then the offense can go do their thing.
In terms of limiting those explosive plays and just improvements on defense as a whole, I guess what specifically do you have to do better to do that?
Well, I think up front, and our front seven, we're doing okay in the run game. Not near as well as we'd like, but we're doing okay. In the secondary, we gotta, like we talked about, explosive plays over and over. We got to stop that. And I know our defense coordinator, Coach Crum, and the defense staff is really working hard on how do we help our secondary out. I do think the UTSA game, talented quarterback, talented receivers. We got caught in some man coverage situations. They checked to those plays. They did a nice job of connecting on that. So moving forward, we're working hard on how do we limit in the passing game, the down the field throws. Still got to stop the run. You know, that's the number one thing. If you can stop the run game, make the quarterback have to go beat you with his arm, most quarterbacks are going to have a hard time doing that. And for UTSA, you know, their quarterback can go do that, and he showed it in that game. So those are the things you got to evaluate every week as you're putting a game plan together.
You know,
It really seemed like the run game finally was starting to pick up a little bit even more against UTSA. What are your expectations going into this week against Old Dominion? I know UTSA had one of the top rush defenses in all the country.
Yeah, you know, for us, the run game is take what they give you. You know, and Bailey does a great job of, is it a loaded box or is it a not loaded box? And he's usually getting you to a run when it's a 5-man box, you know, and if the tight end's attached and it's a 6-man box and they're trying to play coverage, then, you know, he'll also check to a run. So I think Bailey's doing a really good job in that area. You look at the first 2 drives when UTSA came out, I mean, they basically said, you're going to have to run the football. You know, they took the Mike backer and played him 10 yards deep, and, you know, so the box said run it, and we ran it, and it got them out of that coverage. You know, they decided, all right, we got to go now play coverage because these guys are smart enough to realize that they're not going to go throw it every down. So really in the offensive scheme of things, it comes down to Bailey seeing what the box is, being smart and saying, I don't need to throw the football, and go hand it to some quality running backs. And we showed that in the last game, and that'll be the blueprint every week for us.
what about Adam last week? I think he kind of stepped up and emerged. I mean, we've seen what he did in the offseason and coming in from North Dakota State, but he got his best game of the year last weekend.
Yeah, really happy for him. I thought he ran with a purpose. You know, I told Coach Lachlan, our running backs coach, as we were making a drive there, I said, hey, keep number 7 in the game here. He's got a hot hand. You know, and that's kind of how we evaluate our running backs. You know, I like what all our guys do. They all have different skill traits, but you could tell in his style of play early in the game that he had his jaw set. He was running with a purpose for sure. And so, you know, that's why I wanted to keep him in there. But really proud of the running back unit as a whole. I mean, I thought all the running backs ran extremely hard, and we'll keep rolling those guys. And I think it's more of who has the hot hand. You know, and Adam does such a great job in everything. You know, he's great in pass protection. He's good at catching the ball out of the backfield, you know. So, you know, you just got to go each game and kind of say, you know, if you're in there, you got to go do something with it. And he did something with it when he was in there.
You know, obviously the offense, like you said, strong point of the team. You know, it's like those mid-2010 teams when you were here before. You know, with Bailey at quarterback, everybody likes to compare quarterbacks. So I guess early on in his time here at Western, how does he compare to a guy like Brandon Dowdy, you know, early in his time at Western?
He's the best one I've ever been around, and that includes Sam Darnold. I love everything about Bailey Zappi. You check every box, from his competitiveness to his demeanor to how he operates to his unselfishness to his leadership to his accuracy. He's the best I've been around, and I don't mind saying that. And I love Sam Darnold, and he's going to have a great career in the National Football League. And if Sam Darnold was sitting here and he watched Bailey Zappi, he would say, I wish I played like Bailey Zappi in college. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the country. I think the nation needs to know about him, and I think by the end of the season, they're all going to recognize that he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the country. He is a guy that when he's out on the field, everybody knows he's going to give us a chance to go make it happen, and he elevates the play of everybody, and that's the biggest thing. And he takes the demeanor like a coach. He's in the office at 7 a.m. He's there all day. He doesn't leave until we leave, and you don't find guys like that. That's a generational quarterback, in my opinion. And so, not to put pressure on him, but we've been in 5 games, and I can see what the guy can do. He'll continue to do those things, and yeah, he's the best I've been around.
You know, in terms of ODU, doesn't seem like they're putting up a ton of points in their games. A lot of close games, though. 4 guys that have run it for close to 200 yards or more, and a quarterback that's, you know, can move a little bit too. I guess, what do you see on film from them?
You know, they can beat you. You know, they got people that can beat you. They have pieces. Quarterback's a big physical guy that can run with it. He's got a nice arm. They got a couple of quality skill players. I think the running back does a really good job in the run game. He's patient, you know, with the zone run game, and he finds the creases. People have had a hard time with him. we got to stop the running back. We got to stop the quarterback from scrambling and making big plays with his feet. And then at some point in time, they're going to chunk it down there 5, 6, 7 times. And this week, we got to prevent those explosive plays from happening. But they are very, very, very capable of getting that win. And it's going to take everything we have. I do think it's a fourth quarter game. They're going to be extremely hungry. I know their head football coach. He coaches them extremely well. They'll be ready to play for sure. So we got to have our best game. And we're as hungry as they are. You know, we're the same team. We both won one game, you know, so, you know, who wants it more? That's really what it comes down to.
Besides being hungry, like you mentioned, I guess since Saturday up to, you know, Monday morning, how has kind of the mood of the team shifted? You know, how is the team sort of feeling right now? Have they kind of recouped and gathered their thoughts after an obviously tough loss? Like, where do they stand right now?
I think we got a bunch of grown men in our locker room that handle their business professionally, and they treat it like pros, and they're not happy, and they have the right mentality. They have the right look in their eye. They understand they got everything in front of them to go accomplish what they want to go accomplish. They understand what our strengths are. They know what our deficiencies are. And I love walking into that team meeting room with those guys, because when I talk to them, every single one of them's looking me in the eye, and they're nodding their head, and they're right there with me. And I'm usually pretty good at feeling the demeanor of a football team. And I know our fans could probably say the same thing when they watch us play. We may not do everything right, and at times it may be hard to look at, I'll be honest with you. But at the end of the day, you can't sit here and say that football team's not fighting, scratching, and clawing. And I hope the full body of work at the end of the season, those young men are rewarded with the victories that they're working so hard to achieve. And so I'm very proud of our locker room. Nobody's blinked, nobody's batted an eye. They understand the realities of where we're at, and they're going to try to fix it to go have a really good season.